So Lucy, not Lucy, Lucy. Lucy, there is something very magic. So there's something very magic, quite fantastic between me and her, right? So this one is the song I wrote in reverence to the native land bearers of the United States where I now live. It's just so I wrote it to the you want to say the forefathers, not forefathers, that's a wrong expression, to the ancestors of this land, the natives, right? And I know it's in a way it's a broad spectrum of the word, so to speak, but really at the core, it's the first couple of lines. I was born way down in the south. Just basically means I was born wherever I was born. But then she in this case being the land, that now I guess feeds me, right? She grew up in the mountains, free and wild as a child. So even though I said the mountains, but just like now most of the natives are, have residence, so to speak, in the reservations, right? What is called the res. And when I think of the res, I just think of, desert almost lands, barren lands, and then I think of mountains. So, and free and wild as a child doesn't necessarily mean wild. It's more on the end of wild as in knowing one's spirit, right? I feel like my creative, my success has come from following my heart at its most profound, at its profound depth, if you want to say that. And so that aspect, I see that as being wild, right? As being free spirited, to follow to the most depth of your heart yourself. So I think that is what I describe as being wild, right? So she grew up in the mountains, free and wild as a child. And as a child, I mean, like, we all are children forever, really. And I find that for me, having an infant-like aspiration to life, an infant-like affinity for life, by life I mean for the juiciness of be it around people, be it by myself, be it just watching an ant walk on the tar, the tar, right? Well, but yeah, just that aspect of life, I find that I have to have an almost infant perspective, an infantish perspective to enjoy those things. All right. Anyway, so she grew up in the mountains, free and wild as a child. When we met late that September. So this now goes into I actually met and had a short rencontre, très brève avec une demoiselle native. So, but yeah, it was one of those things where just like it was so magical. It's like, man, I'm marrying you. Anyway, that's just one of those things. So when we met late that September, it wasn't September. I think it was like June. I don't know what it was, but September just made sense because the next line is remember. And if you haven't caught on yet, the is an ode to Michael Jackson. Remember, anyway. To the girl best remember, I'll be the one at the far end of the aisle. Oh yeah, when you take that walk down, dressed in white, Joe. So dressed in white, the way I said the white. We had an English teacher when I was in Sacred Heart, Mancon Bamenda, and he was Hashi Nawilo. He was all about, I know it was Hashi was a bigly, but it was about getting your WHs, like, the has to come through. Where? It's not just where are you going, it's where are you going, right? Learned English, my friend. Learned. So, dressed in white, Joe. Dressed in white. Lucy, there is something very magic. I keep trying to say Joe because at one point I switched the lyric to Jolie, as in Jolie, there is something very magic. But I was like, nah, I'm going back to the original idea, which is Lucy, there is something very magic. Lucy, right between us, it's fantastic. And the fantastic line comes from when I was growing up, we used to drink Fanta a lot, and we would say something is, one of my uncles, he's like, Brother Simon, he's like, life is fantastic and cocastic because, Fanta, at parties, you have the Fantas and you have the Coca-Colas kind of side by side. You had your choice to pick from. So life is fantastic and cocastic. But anyway, so between you and me, Lucy, it's fantastic. Between us, it's fantastic. And that's that.